What's going on, guys? Danny or Wi-Fi Astronaut back here today for another video, and today we are going to be going over how I failed my bulk book business. Let's get right into it. So if you guys don't know already, when I first started on Amazon, I first started selling used books. So pretty much what I would do is I would go with I'd have a Bluetooth scanner about the size of like this. I would have my Scout IQ app, the database version. If you have Scout IQ, make sure to get the database version. So you download the database, and then I would go to library sales, estate sales, libraries just during the day, and I would scan through all of their used books that they had for sale. I would input the buy cost. Usually they're either free or anywhere from like 25 cents to like $1, but usually between like 25, 50 cents each. So the buy cost is like minimal. It's pretty much zero. So the ROIs were really, really, really high. And honestly, going that way, it's called, I believe it's called cherry picking, is when you just go to a library or a book sale, or library sales, estate sales. That to me still is the best way to do used books, and we'll get into that more. So there's another business in bulk books or in books. It's called bulk books, and this is when you're buying what's called gaylords of books. Now these are pretty much huge bins. They're anywhere between 800 and 1,000 pounds, and they come on a pallet. They cost about 7 cents a pound, depending where you get them from. I was getting mine from Goodwill, and you'd buy them in bulk. So I would buy like half a truckload, or you could do an FTL, which is a full truckload, which would be like 40. It's like 42 skids, I think. So 42 of these huge bins, between 800 and 1,000 pounds each, between 800 and 1,000 books, because each book's about a pound. And you would go through them, and this is buying them in bulk, right? And I did this for from December 2020 to about February or March 2020. So December 2019 to about March 2020. I did it for about 3 months. I opened up a warehouse. I'll throw some pictures up on the screen. And unfortunately, bulk books, once COVID came, quickly turned non-profitable. So I spent thousands of dollars into this warehouse, equipment, hiring people, and it pretty much flopped, right? COVID came. I wasn't able to send any more books in, so I was stuck with like 2 or 3 pallets of books, which was like all my money at the time. And I had no way to get it out, so I had to merchant fulfill a ton during COVID, and then eventually, I think it was at the end of April or early May, you were allowed to send them in again, so I sent the rest in, closed that warehouse, was able to cut my lease short, thank God, because of COVID, and then, yeah, I was able to escape the bulk book business, but truly the problem that I faced when I was doing bulk books, and I want to touch on this because it's very, very important, is to know your numbers. So as I was doing it, I wasn't totally sure of my numbers or tracking my numbers. I was just knowing that, sales were coming in. Looking back on it now, it was so foolish, but I knew that sales were coming in, and some money was coming into my account. I was using Payability, which really screwed me over. I would never recommend using Payability to anyone, or any service that takes your money into their account and then sends it to you. I would never do it. It's just usually does not end well. So Payability screwed me over by taking percents of the revenue. Again, my fault. These are things I should have known, but pretty much the reason why it failed was I was lacking in the numbers department. I was not tracking it properly, and ultimately did not work for me. Now, there are ways in this business to recoup a lot of your costs. So pretty much you could get your books back for almost, you could get your costs back for almost for free. So pretty much, I'd scan through 40,000 books, and as you're scanning through on the screen, Sell Back Your Book would say if they would take it or not. And if they would take it, a certain noise would play, and then you'd throw it in the Sell Back Your Book Gaylord, which is, again, that big bin that I think like watermelons come in, or like large produce comes in. So yeah, I was able to pull up out of like 20 Gaylords, I was able to get like a full Gaylord for Sell Back Your Book, send that to them, get a couple grand back, and then that covered my costs for the books. However, the labor was so intensive and expensive, and the books themselves weren't great, right? Like you'd send it in, and a certain percent, a small percent, around like 20, 30% might sell within like the first 30 days. I think it's supposed to be like half. and then the rest would take between like 6 and 12 months to sell. So the problem with this business is it snowballs, and it's very it's capital intensive, and it's laborious, and it's time intensive. Things are heavy. You're moving a lot of product, a lot of heavy books around for not a lot of profit. So to me, the margins were just a little bit too tight for the amount of labor, whereas I could use that same labor and make a ton more money in wholesale. The things are smaller. It's easier to deal with. It's brands. It's a scalable model. I personally don't believe in the bulk book model long term. I just think eventually books naturally will get phased out just by the way society is heading. Now, that doesn't mean you still can't do it. I have tons of friends that do it and are doing really, really well with it. It's just personally not what I do anymore. Now, strictly wholesale. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little story on how I failed bulk books. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos. Got some really good ones coming up. And stay tuned for more. Peace, guys.